Hello everyone, welcome back to the Revolutionize the Stage podcast. My name's Emily Heidel, and we have such a lovely, swaggy, super cool, swaggy guest. We have DJ Fenner.
Pew, 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 pew. Hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, thank you for joining us. How are you feeling today?
A little bit hungover, not gonna lie, straight up. But yeah, feeling good.
We appreciate the honesty here for sure. I too was feeling a little hungover this morning, but I feel better now.
Oh, good. Well, you don't look hungover. That's the main thing. I feel like I should put some makeup on or something.
No, you look fresh.
Makeup. Fresh?
You look fresh. You do. Yes, of course. For people who don't know you, who are not aware of yourself, can you introduce yourself?
Wow, that's a long answer. Been DJing for over 20 years now. I've been making music for not as long, but maybe like 10 years on and off. But yeah, music, like DJing is the main focus for me. I do lots of other stuff as well, but I won't bore you with all that.
We'll talk about all the other stuff that you do as well. Just to give a little background on the types of genres you kind of go into, you have deep house, tech house, vintage house, disco pop, future house, so like all house music, EDM, hip hop, reggae, chill out, and you've DJ'd alongside people like Afrojack, Laidback Luke, Headhunters, DJ Soda, you have a song with her. You DJ'd at Louis Vuitton events, Dior, Beats by Dre, Toyota, Volkswagen, Calvin Klein, Armani. You've been on JTBC, KBS, Kakao M, SBS Plus, Arirang, TVN, and NBC.
We're going back, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've been in the game for a while, so I've done all sorts of things. Music-wise, it kind of fluctuates with the trends. Like, so in England, when I first started, I was into like, my friends were into like hard style and like hard trance and all this, like the rave kind of scene. So I would play that, and then I went to uni and I got into drum and bass and breakbeat, and like dubstep kind of blew onto the scene then. And then like I come over to Korea and it was more house and electro, but it was quite hard, so it was close to the EDM, the hard style stuff that I was playing before. And then there was like, you know, I like hip hop and deep house and all that stuff as well. So it's like I have all my playlists, and if you have a playlist, you can play them. So it was just a question of finding like, you know, places where I can play my music. Just so that's why the genres are so broad, and like, you know, I don't like to stick to one. DJing is like, it's the game, you know. It's like each genre is a different level to me. So it's like I can do anything. Yeah. Some people have that one brand focus, but for me, that's always been boring. So I just do everything.
Wow. And you do everything. We'll talk about it later, more than just DJing. But one thing you mentioned was that you started, you know, in the rave scene in the UK.
Yes.
And you were like a breakout. You have it described as like a breakout sound
DJ? You know, you try to, when you're writing these bios, you try to use like the most creative words you can.
Yeah.
Exploded onto the rave scene.
You exploded onto the rave scene. There you go.
Yeah. So basically back then I was like 16 or something. And there was a DJ competition in our area, and I've been DJing for about 2 years, and that was kind of my first debut, or like just around the time of my first debut. But like, I kind of somehow won that competition, and so that's kind of like set me off.
Okay. And then you were DJing as much as you DJ now back in the UK, or just kind of like doing, like you said, you went to uni?
I think at uni I was DJing more than I'm DJing here, because here like the gigs are bigger now, some of them, but like at uni we had a DJ society. We set up a crew, and we just played like every week, like 2 or 3 times a week, and just got like spent our student loans on, you know, alcohol and having fun. Yeah. And then we got like given extra stuff because we were bringing them content, all the venues like around the city I was in.
Oh,
so I was really busy then. Yeah.
And you moved to Korea 10 years ago?
Yeah, as soon as I graduated uni, I came out here.
Okay. So what made you move to Korea?
It was random. So basically, I did my major is IT, and I did IT because it's kind of safe, and also a degree where I can listen to music all day. So like, I always wanted to be a DJ, and to be a DJ, you have to kind of like have your musics and stuff. And back then, it was really key to get the music. Like it was all on LP, but when I was in the UK, it was all on vinyls. So like, to get those best vinyls, they would sell out real quick, like the underground remixes of stuff that like are bootlegs. Yeah. So to get there, you had to be always on the computer digging and scanning all the websites, because you know they make 50 bootleg copies, and then when they're sold out, you can't get them. So when you have that copy, you're like, you know, the party goes crazy because like, oh, you have that track, play that track for me, and no one else has got it. So it was a little bit different then. But basically, so I needed to be listening to music on the computer all day to get the first copies.
I see.
And then I was like, okay, so to continue this without having to get like, you know, a real job or whatever, because I don't feel like DJing is a job. Anyway, to get that, what can I do to be on a computer all day? So I chose IT. But when I graduated, it was like, you know, I was just jumped through all the hoops. I got my degree. I did quite well because everything I would like tailor towards music. So make a database, make a music database, make a website, make a DJ website, make a, you know, all that stuff. So I did that. And then, but when I graduated, I was like, like, I don't want to go into a company. I want to travel.
Yeah.
So I love traveling and like going on holidays. Like, it's what it's about. So I was like, DJing, travel. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
And then, so I was like thinking, where do I go? And it's like, I like the summer. So it's like somewhere hot, preferably, or like that's hot some of the time.
Yeah.
And then looking at the economy, it was like Europe's in a recession. So like, and America's probably like quite saturated, and it's quite similar, like, you know, it's, you know, European kind of like culture vibes. So I was like, Asia.
Okay.
And then I was like, so I was doing my final degree, and I asked my friend, like, where should I go? And he was like, oh, I have a friend in Korea. And I was like, give me her Facebook. And there was no more thought process than that. And then so I ended up coming out to see her for a bit. And like, I was thinking of doing like a year in Asia. Yeah. To see how I like that. And then just it all kicked off.
The classic.
Exploded.
Yes, exploded.
You like that word?
Yes. Everyone says like, yeah, I was going to be here for a year, and then it's like 13 years later. For real. Yeah. And one thing you mentioned, you said, give me her Facebook. I really went back like far. I went all the way back to like the beginning of your Instagram, beginning of your YouTube and stuff. And I saw a comment, and they were like, yo, where do I get this like mix or something? And you were like, I don't have it on this, but like, do you want my email or my MySpace?
Oh, MySpace. MySpace is what set me off rolling really quickly here.
Really?
Yeah, because before I came here, I was like, okay, so I had like 3 months before like in that process of graduating and like, you know, the friend saying, come over. And so I was like looking on MySpace at that time. I used MySpace quite a lot. And so I looked at all the major clubs in Seoul and then looked at all the resident DJs that were listed there, all of their like individual pages, sent them all my press kit that I had from the UK. Like one dude got back to me and was like, yo, let's do some parties, because he was doing like a really cool drum and bass party here. And it was at that time, drum and bass wasn't big. It's still not that big here, but like they were pushing it, and they were bringing like the best drum and bass DJs from the UK over, like Ronnie Size, Goldie, Fabio. Okay. And I kind of just like arrived bang at the right time, so I became the warm-up DJ for the international guests, and then my friend who I made through MySpace was like the closing DJ. So all of a sudden I was on this big stage with like the DJs that are like the best in that scene in the UK. Instead of me like watching them, I was looking after them when they're in Korea, eating like, you know, gogi with them and stuff like that. So I was like, aha. So now I'm playing, I'm looking after celebs, and like I'm in this really amazing place that I don't really know. Everything's new. So, and it was crazy, and everything kind of took off because, you know, if you work, you're networking. Like, you know, last night I wasn't just drinking, I was networking with like, you know, people from JYP and all that stuff. So that's my mentality. You know, I sleep 3 hours, but as long as I make the connections and work hard, then it's like, stuff just kind of happens. Yeah. As long as it's organic, you know.
I love that. You said a lot that I'm thinking like, okay, that's a question. For one, you mentioned how, you know, well, I mean, the most important, I think, is the fact that you said like networking.
Yes, sir.
And also I'm thinking branding as well, but as a DJ, like you're not just out here making your mixes and then going and playing and then partying and that's that. You're like, it's really, is it just as important?
Oh, it's the hustle. Like, it's always been about, that's the thing about the DJing, it's a hustle, man. You know, everyone's hungry, everyone's trying to, you know, some people do it for everyone does it for their own reasons, but like to get to that stage, to get to those big stages, is more than just, you know, just being a DJ, I think, unless you have a good company who does all the hustle for you. But for me, it's always been like from the ground up, you know, like I love what I do, I get good in my own time, and then it's like, you know, who do I need to get me there? Who do I, you know, where do I go? You know, and what do I have to give them? What value do they need? Other than music, it's like you have to be, you know, fun. You know, you have to have that kind of vibe.
Are you with a company?
For music or what? I have a company that gives me my visa, which I'm very grateful for. I've been with them for a while, but other than that, it's they just, you know, take a percentage of what I earn and then just like, you know, just basically give me freedom to do everything. Other than that, it's like just me. So everything that comes in is basically me, pretty much.
So
and my friends, obviously, like the different people that link me up with the stuff.
Yeah. So like you mentioned how you had a press kit and things like that back in the. So networking, of course, is very essential to being able to get around and stuff like that. But you have branded yourself really well, I feel.
You think I was? I've been changing my mind on that. Like it's
really?
kind of a creative process. Like it's yeah, it keeps changing. It morphs and like so right now I'm thinking. For example, if you brand like on Instagram, for example, if you upload too much rubbish, it's like you're having too much fun, and everyone's like, oh, he's having too much fun, and then it can be good and it can be bad, like so. I'm thinking a lot about branding, and I've got a lot to learn in that department. I think I'm glad that you think that I've done well, but like I think I can do better.
I see what you're saying. Well, what do you think? Because like I said, and I think I have it in the questions about how if you go into Fenner's, or did you want me to call me? Do you want to be called Fenner or DJ Fenner, or do you want to be called
Fenner?
Fenner?
Well, it was originally DJ Fenner, but then the production started going well as well. And it's like if it just says DJ Fenner, they think I'm a DJ. If it's Fenner, it's like I'm more of a kind of entity.
I see.
So I dropped the DJ.
Okay.
But that's still the main thing.
Okay, got it. Okay. So Fenner, if you go on Fenner's Instagram, you'll see I think it was around the start of the pandemic, and when I was looking at your website, you have these and it makes sense, but when you go to clubs and you see when a DJ's DJing, in the back they have that, what it's called,
visuals.
Visuals.
The visuals, yeah.
Like it's like the different slates or visuals, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And then you have this sort of like supercharged, as it's called, like alternate human sort of thing, like that. When I was like, oh, that's interesting.
So basically, I don't know what it was. I was watching some documentary, and it's all about storytelling. Like to sell a product, I'm basically a product. To sell a product is like storytelling, like really helps. So like I was trying to think of a fun story, and it's that archetypal story of like good versus bad. But so basically. It's like if you can have one superpower, what would it be? And then so mine would be to have to play amazing music that kind of heals people through stress relief or whatever, so basically the foundation is like giving. So what would you if some people would have a superpower to be to make as much money as they want, but this one was more like how can I give to somebody, and what does a DJ give, other than being if you just DJ and your music's good but you play the music and not many people like it. It's kind of selfish. So as a DJ as well, I trying to think, if there's a crowd in front of me, what do these people want to hear? What can I play to make them, go up together? So so for me, that's one way of DJing. Or if you just play that one genre, you play your own music, people love your music, and you give it to them like that. But it's not. It's a different skill. I see in some. I think in some ways. So I'm more of the DJ type where I can play kind of whatever it takes. Is the way I see it.
I see.
Yeah.
So in reading people, would you say you're good at reading people? You're good at reading a crowd, or are you also good at reading?
I've read you already.
Fuck.
Yeah,
really?
I got you down. I had 3 seconds. It's
no.
Okay, I know. It's the ponytail gives it away. I'm like, she's here to party. Give it to him.
I mean, you're not. Let's. You know what? The vibe is. You're right. Okay.
No,
so you'd say you're good at reading people in general.
Well, it depends on to a certain extent the clubs that you play in. You kind of know what the people are the local people, the regulars there want. But and then you kind of get that genre, you bring all the new stuff and you mix it together nicely. And if you get someone who looks like they're bored, you try maybe put some hip hop on and then see how the reaction is. And if it goes well, you can kind of gauge. So after a few songs, you can kind of work out what people want roughly.
Are you listening to how much new music are you listening to a day?
Right now, none, because my computer's broken.
Sure.
But I'm getting a new one on Thursday. But yeah, I have my certain blogs and stuff, and I try and do as much as possible. But that's the thing, if you're doing the hustling, the business, and the music production, the DJing, and all that stuff, and trying to stay healthy at the same time, it's you just do as much as you can. So when I start listening, when I start digging, we call it digging. When I'm digging, I guess time flies. I've been there till last night, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, just going, and then that's the flow comes at those crazy early hours. And I do that whenever I need to. So if I have a new gig or a different venue, if I need to find some hip hop, I'll be right, I'm going to go on all the hip hop blogs and listen to all the main producers and then look for remixes and all that stuff. Because remixes, I'm more I like remixes. So it's you can play the original, but if you can find a super dope remix, you give the listener that original feel with a different flavor, and they're oh, what was that? And then they can something that people remember.
So okay, when you're on these kind of digging kicks, I guess you could say, does that take like a week where you're just like I'm kind of laying low,
No,
I'm
it's
chilling?
a constant process.
Oh, constant. Okay.
It's
Okay.
like I mean, every time I go to a club, every time I go to a lounge bar, I'm constantly, if I hear it in a song now, luckily we have like the mobile phone, we can use like apps. So I'm Shazam.
Yeah.
Like if I hear a good song, Shazam, and then all of the Shazam lists, I'll go back and I'll download them, and then I'll find out the artists that made them, and I'll listen to their new stuff. So it's all it's just like it's ongoing.
Yeah.
And then, but every now and again, you'll like have to go in and actually download the songs and organize them into a playlist. So at that point, you kind of like have like a crazy day of just like focused digging, you know.
How many playlists do you think you have?
Oh, don't go there. Like a lot. Which software are you talking? Like different softwares, the old softwares that I used to use.
Oh, shoot.
Playlists like loads.
Oh, okay.
Loads.
Oh, so wait. So there's, what is it called? There's the software, whatever, the turntable that starts with an S, something.
I know, but I'm gonna try and, what is it? Come on, I know what it is.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna give
I
you
don't
too
know.
many hints.
I don't know.
Go on.
Sadeco?
I'll give you the second letter.
Uh-huh.
No, I went Serato.
There we go.
Right,
Oh, okay. So do you use? So
I
you
used
said
to.
you
I used to
multiple
use
softwares.
Serato.
Yeah.
Like, cause when I had my turntables, my LPs back in the UK, like I use Serato because you can link it up and you can play like because like LPs you have to buy a lot, so they're heavy, and so like okay, I was like, wow, and I want to start buying all this like more commercial music as well.
Yeah.
And it's just too much. So I bought Serato to kind of cross that barrier. But then I find like plugging a laptop in when you're DJing is not as fun, and it just like I had a couple of instances like this massive festival, and I was trying to plug a laptop and it didn't work, and it completely spoiled my experience, right? So I was like, you know, I decided never to like use this again, and like especially if I can just use a USB or a CD, you know, like so I stopped using Serato basically, and I use like just like, you know, the Pioneer normal kind of like what's kind of industry standard now, like the CDJs. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned a big festival. You've DJed at Ultra, both in Miami and in Seoul.
Yep.
What were the, or like, is it Ultra Korea? Is that what they call it?
Korea, yeah.
Okay. What were the difference, besides the, of course, location and maybe demographic of people? What was the difference between DJing?
Well, to be honest, like when I was at the one in Miami, I wasn't really DJing. I was like, so basically I went there, you know, I had a collaboration with Soda. And so Soda was DJing.
Right.
And when she was DJing, me and the other friend who I made the music with, we came up on stage and we shared like, you know, like 10 minutes of stage time with her, which was very kind of Soda. But so it wasn't like I was actually, you know, it wasn't my set. So it's a different feeling because if you play in Korea and you play your whole set, it's like, you know, you own it more.
Right.
But I was kind of still, you know, blessed to be on the stage there, which is nice. It felt good to hear our song and to like, you know, entertain people to our song. So.
You know, one thing I noticed is that you, with every place you go, so like in Miami, or if you go to Fenner's Instagram or YouTube, you have a lot of these highlight videos of like the different places that you've like DJ'd. And I'm wondering, like, do you hire somebody to come out and film for you each place you go?
Yeah, so basically...
Your friend, what's his name? Leo?
Oh, Leo Chan? Yeah,
I think. Okay.
Yeah, he's super cool. So basically, I had a gig in Macau, and I have a DJ friend who works in the biggest club in Macau, and he was, you know, like people around you, they'll stretch you. So he was, you know, focused on content and stuff like this, and I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. So I have to make a video then. He had a good videographer. So I was like, can I use your guy? Can he, when I'm DJing Macau, Club Cubic, it's like the big club next to the casino, a City of Dreams. And he was like, yeah. So he introduced me, and I paid him I think it was like 300 or something, which is cheap. Mates rates, you know, for a video of like a high quality video. And he did it, and he created the concept. He just nailed it. And I was like, oh, that's dope. You know, he did like this kind of glitch thing with my logo at the end, and he just like created like a time like walking around Macau, so you see a bit of Macau and then you go into the club, like, you know, that kind of storytelling thing. And I was like, oh, this is dope. And I was just like, yeah, just inside a minute, that's great. And so that was like the concept basically. And then everywhere I went after that, I was like, you know, the places that I play are like the biggest clubs run by the biggest entertainment companies, and they have the best videographers in their crew. And it's like, and I'm friends with these people, like the main people, and I was like, yo, introduce me to your guy. And at that time especially, like people, the videographers wanted these music videos as part of they wanted to have made one as part of their CV, and it's a fun job because they can come, they can enjoy the night as well, and you know, they get to meet DJs, and we get, you know, it's just perfect. So everywhere I went, I'd say, this is the concept, can you do it? And so they've kind of followed the concept, but so we'd go around like literally in a day, see a few things, video a few bits, just a few kind of like random highlights, and the videographers would think before, you know, oh, like this bridge is really beautiful, like this food, this, you know, this, and then we just go, you know, and then every time they just edit up, they'll send me their first draft, I'll be like, meow, give them like maybe 1 or 2 feedbacks, like returns and feedbacks, and then everything, just like every single video came out really well.
Wow.
Like, because the guys are good, you know, everyone's skilled, and if they have the concept, if you show them like the goal, like most people can reach there with a few kind of like feedbacks, you know.
Why is it important to do those videos to you?
It's like memories, man.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, this is the thing, I've DJed all around the world, I've seen a lot of things, but like, if I don't have these things, like, who knows? Like, and what happens if I get like, you know, memory loss and I forget, you know? But like this video this is gonna be you know, it's there forever. So, and it's super important, and I can upload it whenever I want. I can send it to whoever I want, and literally, because the stages that we're on are massive. So it's like whoever sees the video is like, oh, respect. You know? And if I just tell them, I've played in Macau, I've played in Hong Kong, oh yeah, great, nice one, mate. Show them the video, they're like, fuck.
Then they see it. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So it's important. It's really important. And I you know, I wish I'd done it earlier in some respects. You know, I wish I'd been more focused on like content. But it's okay.
But that's, like you said, you do a lot more than just DJing. Or like, you know, you think about the image of who DJ Fenner is and like how you want to come across, which I think is really cool and something that people, I feel like, don't necessarily think about when from the outside looking in about, you know, DJs. So, and you mentioned this a couple of times, but networking is important, and sometimes partying, of course, kind of is partying like par for the course for every DJ?
Everyone's different. I find like most of the DJs partying is part of the course. Most of the producers, like, they're not so into the partying, but they you know, they make good music. So, and I'm definitely from the DJ side, you know. I do it because parties are fun to me. So which is why it's also kind of a good match.
You seem, okay, also what I've realized since knowing you is that you know a lot of different people, of course, and you're naturally good at like creating friendships and things like that.
Nice to meet you.
Look
nice at that. You see, bang in there.
Wow. Is it ever difficult to balance like different friendships, relationships, sort of like if, let's say, your friend is at this one club and then, you know, another friend wants you to DJ at another club, but there might be a rival club, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's their decision. Like, I generally kind of like try to like stay on the middle of the fence.
Yeah.
I don't like beef. But like every now and again, these like 2 people will have beef, and one of them be like, "You have to choose," and it's like, I wish you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you just do. Generally, if someone says you have to choose, I just kind of like stand there, and if they disappear, then I've made my choice. You know, like, but I don't. Yeah, it's just good, man. If you're like, because I'm not like in one single place, then it does. You know. I'm kind of freelance. But like it's easier because I wasn't just focused in Korea. If you do international and just play at the biggest clubs in each country, like, you know, it's perfect.
How quickly did
but
you...
if you stay in Korea, then obviously you're like, everything's more territorial and like that, and it's hard. And so if you fall into a crew, and nowadays it's getting more tight with like the crews and stuff, you know, like...
Is it?
Yeah. Because like people, I don't know, it's just like, you know, like the overground and the underground rivalry is super strong at the moment, and it's like, it's kind of, I don't know. I just want to step back from all the politics. I just want to play, you know, like, so.
Overground and underground.
Yeah.
So what would be overground?
Overground is kind of like, you know, like over in Gangnam, the EDM kind of like, you know, like the super club, the champagne culture. You know.
All that stuff.
So that's like overground, and underground is like the new kind of like, you know, the underground people. If you imagine like the overground is sort of really hard to get into as a DJ, still people still want to DJ.
Yeah.
So they're not going to just be like, oh, I'm not going to DJ then. They're going to like, I'm going to make my own DJ. And then, you know, so they make their own parties and they do their own thing. And that's kind of like the culture of the underground. So there's a lot of like, often there's a lot of negativity there as well, which is not good. And then they'll say stuff like, oh, I hate your music. And it's like, oh, I love your music, but I hate the fact that you hate my music. You know, and it's just like, for me, like for someone who just wants to play like all kinds of music, I don't like that, the politics side of things. But then they make their own culture, and then like, you know, and Itaewon is where like the underground culture is. And, you know, it's good. That competition is healthy, but like sometimes, you know, I don't know, people... I think about it differently, you know. I want like everyone to be cool, you know, like
Same.
you to come here, to come there, and just like, you know, but like, oh, you play EDM, you can't play techno. It's like, what? If I play a techno set, it's gonna be better than yours, yeah? And I'm gonna make a techno track that's like way better than you. Like you can do it, but like people will shut the door on you because you're EDM, which is for me is bullshit. Yeah.
I see. And knowing these like underground, overground politics and things like that, in Korea, you have to be fluent in Korean.
You have to be, or
do you?
I mean, for the first few years that I was here, I didn't speak any Korean at all.
Oh.
But it does help if you're going into business and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you learn?
Just drinking with my Korean friends, like staying up till like 5 a.m, and just like listening to like, you know, it's fun. It's a drinking. Everyone's like, "Wow, partying," and they're blah 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 talking in Korean, and then it's like you just have to focus, and you get these like brain farts every like after 4 hours of listening to like too much Korean, you're just like, I can't handle it anymore. And then sometimes you just have to like call it a day there, but like you have to try, man. And then like and because in that environment it was fun, like the stuff they're saying is like, you know, fun, you know, like boys night out, you know, talking about all the kind of stuff that makes you laugh, and like remembering when you hear certain things, it's like, oh, that's funny, I'm gonna remember that. And so I just pick up little bits and then so it's been fun. And then every now and again I'll study a bit, you know, I'll do 6 months and I'll study a course or something. And then and then I'll get bored, and I'll just like, okay, you know, just make music only for like a few months, and then go backwards and forwards. So it's been organic, but it's taken a longer time.
I see. I remember we first met back in like 2020. It was for a mutual friend, Esma's birthday.
Yes, sir.
And oh my God, I remember that night we stayed up till like 4 or 5 a.m. and I could not then I didn't get out of bed till like 11 p.m. the next day. But I remember someone saying like Fenner knows more Korean, might be more fluent in Korean than he is in English. Someone said that.
I mean, they all say that, but that's because they don't speak English.
I
say they. I mean, people that don't speak, like Koreans, like that don't speak English. Like, oh, your Korean's so good. And it's like, yeah, my English is good too, but I just don't speak it with you because you don't know. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it's kind of a compliment, so I like it. You know, it's like, oh, your Korean's really good. You're Korean. No, I'm still English, but like, you know, I can communicate with you, which is great.
Yeah.
You know?
So for foreign DJs, first of all, one thing I didn't mention is that you were, was it voted or elected the #1 foreign DJ in Korea in 2020?
I mean, this is an Asia-based company, and like they just messaged me and said, you know, we've seen what you've been doing in Asia. We're doing this chart. Do you want to be blah blah blah? So they give me 2. Like they were like, well, you're the #1 foreign DJ in Korea, which is like, for me, I don't like to make the distinction between foreign and local. So that was like, but I didn't say no. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. You know, like at least I'm better than all the other foreigners. Like, you know, that kind of like, there's a marketing perspective. You know, I can use it. Yeah, 100%. Basically. But actually, I would have preferred it to be just like, you know, DJ. Someone in Korea, like the DJ, all of the DJs in Korea, no distinction between foreign and local. But like, they also give me another one, which is like of Asia. So I was like, they think 22 in Asia, which is the one when I promote myself is the one that I use more because I relate to, you know, I resonate with that. Yeah.
I see. Are there a lot of foreign DJs in Korea?
Like, yeah, but like in terms of where they're playing, it's all kind of Itaewon based mainly. You know, like the community's right there. Like I mentioned earlier about the underground, like, you know, it's kind of right in Itaewon. It's hard. Like there's not many foreigners in the Gangnam scene. It's hard to if you don't speak the language, and then the way Korean business works, you kind of need to connect as well as doing a good job. You know, because that's just the way it is. You know, in Korea. So yeah, it's hard for people without the language and you know, to get in.
What was, besides living in Seoul, what's been your favorite city or club to perform in?
Like anywhere?
Anywhere.
Club, not festival, club?
Yeah.
I think one of my, like, so for me, it's like the clubs are all so good, like now. And in like if it's a big stage, a big club, it's all kind of similar. Like it's still just like crazy, you know, like CO2, like thousands of people, ridiculous amounts of alcohol, you know, girls and guys just like, you know, going crazy, right? Yeah. So like from that, it's kind of like duplicated all over the place. So for me, it's more about the people who own the club and the workers, the kind of like, you know, their immediate kind of crew. So like, for example, if I go to Shenzhen, there's a club in Shenzhen in China called Face Club. They've now changed it to Super Face. But their family, like the boss, the music director, you know, the video guy, all the local DJs in the club. They're just amazing. You just go there and it's like, what?
Yeah.
I've missed you, you know, like that. And they're like, you know, they just give you drinks and they book all the top DJs, like, you know, Tiesto, DJ Snake, like every guy that's coming through Asia, like the big guns, they all go there and they all be in this backstage room, which is like in the green room. And then all of a sudden you're in there and you've got all the memorabilia from all their stuff, and they're so welcoming. It's like, you know, I feel like, you know, I feel welcome, you know. So it's more about that side of the thing. And then I'll just go in there, we'll drink and we'll talk and we'll do like anything that friends would do. Yeah. But it's just like, you know, if the quicker you get to that kind of like friendship, the better, you know. Yeah. And I've got great groups of friends like that in all of the cities now. And it's just a case of like, you know, stay in contact, you know, occasionally, like that random phone call rather than like when you just need something. True. And but it's kind of real. It's organic because I generally like click with most. The funny thing is, most of the people in the party business are fun, right? Yeah. So if you're fun, it's kind of organic. You don't have to like force it, you know? Yeah, that's true. Hello, everybody. This is Emily. If you've reached this part of the interview, that means you're at the end of part 1. So you can check back for part 2 next week. In the meantime, make sure to keep up with everything Revolutionize the Stage on our Instagram and Twitter at RevTheStagePod. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Bye-bye.